Hey guys, so welcome back to Indirect Knowledge. And tonight I've got some tarot card readings and should be a lot of fun. Just been kind of hanging out the last day or so, doing some good service work. So it always feels good to be able to help where I can help. Been really busy lately. And now it's time to do a little bit more service. We'll do these readings. So tonight's reading is for Bree. And let's just see. B wants to know wants to know whether or not the guy she's in love with wants her to wait for him and continue being his lover, or does he want her to maybe go find someone else, that type of thing. So, okay, let's go and consult the cards and find out. Let's find out. Interesting. So for this here, we're just going to do a 2-card. So all I need on this. Okay, so this is kind of cut and dry here. Okay, so the first card that we have is the 9 of Wands. Oh, let me get myself situated over here. See you guys. The first card that we have is the 9 of Wands. I want you to look at this here for just a moment because, well, as I say, a lot of times wands are about action, creative action normally, doing certain things in a certain way, to produce results, but also just taking action, like moving things forward. But when you get toward the end, of the wands, like here we got the 9. We have this person's a little downtrodden, a little beaten up. They've worked hard. They've put in the energy, the effort. They're just not, they're just feeling like they need a break. They just feel like this thing's a little too hard. We just need to kind of, take a little bit of a break. Okay, so that's the first card. So what do you guys think? I mean, if I were just to kind of present that to you with regard to our question here about, does he want B to still be in his life, be his lover, or does he want her to maybe move on, find someone else? If you saw that card and you were thinking about it in the perspective of this question that the current has, B, what would that really say to you? Well, as with a lot of things in the tarot, things, when you get a card like this, you really have to kind of see it in the context of what's going on here. So in this particular card, what we have is we've got this situation where he's just feeling a little bit like, oh my goodness, I've been doing a lot of work. I just need a little bit of me time. I just need a little bit of break from the relationship a little bit. Doesn't mean that he wants the relationship over. A 9 is not completion. I mean, it is in numerology, but it's not completion in the sense of like relationship be gone, relationship be over. In this particular kind of a case, like with the wands, it just really simply means that we have to take a break from doing action a little bit. In other words, relationships are a lot of work. It's like they can be a full-time job if you're not careful, because you're having to put in the energy and the effort, and you want to make the other person happy, and that requires work. And the definition of love, as far as us monks are concerned, from our vantage point, the definition of love is the very active action. It's the very active service. And when you love someone and you do service for them from the heart, what tends to happen is that love gets reciprocated. Now, it may not get reciprocated right away, but when you love someone, it doesn't matter about the reciprocation. It's about doing everything from your heart without regard for what someone else does for us or not. And you see, that's really the whole key thing here. So how do you love someone, and how do you get love from that person? Well, it's not really as much as we'd like to wave a magic wand and say boom, or puff, or whatever the magic word is. You are in love with me, and that person is now your love magnet or love slave or love zombie, whatever you want to call it. It just really doesn't work that way. On the other hand, there is something that from I can share with you just kind of from the spiritual dimensional side of things. And that is that if you really love someone, you just, you're devoted to that person no matter what. It's not about, you want them to be happy. So whatever makes them happy is what makes you happy. And that's where you get your happiness from. And oftentimes it's through your actions, it's through doing. So like with relationships, it's really about doing. If you want to put in the time, energy, and effort, and trust me, it can be a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of effort, then go right ahead. It just really is up to you depending on if you love that person or not. So if you love the person, the easiest thing to do would be just to do what comes naturally from your heart. Now, if you do things for someone and it's not in your heart, well, you're going to have resentment. You're not going to feel good about the situation. You're going to resent that person. And eventually, it will be the opposite of love. It may even be like hatred or a lot of just, despise that person, that type of thing. So you want to stay away from the negativity and you want to endorse more of the positivity. The way to do that is to do things from the heart. So I'll give an example. If, say, for example, like you love this person and maybe you guys have taken a break or he's distanced himself away from you for a moment. Maybe he likes pies. I don't know. And I'm just shooting in the dark here. But like, let's just say, for example, like he likes apple pie. And, you have grandmother's famous recipe where you take the 7-Up and you put it in with the apples and, you create the world's best apple pie. You can look the recipe up online if you want. Then what do? You go to the kitchen and you cook the person an apple pie. It's as simple as that. It doesn't mean that you have to go give them $1 zillion or all your bank account or let them drive your car. Trust me, if it's not in your heart to do it, if it's going to give you resentment, don't do it, because then you're just going to be bitter. And that's not love. Love is doing things 100% because it's in your heart to do them and for no other reason. You would do them whether the person wanted to be with you or not. It's just, the kindness that's in your heart. So you have to ask yourself sometimes, and this is where like a person really finds out a lot about themselves. And it's really interesting because like, I'll tell you guys a little secret here. Okay. A little monk secret. Okay. So, and don't judge me. Okay. Monks, we don't judge you guys, but don't judge me here because I know it can be a little harsh out here in internet land and in the world and in the world of materialism and all that. Don't judge me, but I will tell you guys a little secret. I'll impart it to you. Why not? So when I was, like becoming a monk and a spiritualist and doing sadhana every day and different things, a big part of it that I guess I just didn't really anticipate was the whole service side of things. Now I love doing service. Okay. So don't get me wrong. I give you the shirt off my back if you were here. It doesn't matter. Whatever I can do to assist and serve and love, I'm all about it now. It took me a while to get there, but that's the process. That's the journey, I guess. And that's sort of the secret here. I'm telling you, when I first got started, with being a monk and everything, it was very challenging for me because I was doing things oftentimes and I found myself feeling resentment. Like I would do so many nice things and I wasn't getting like any kind of no accolades for doing it. Like it was like nobody was really paying any attention. And when you do things and it's like you're not really getting that attention, your ego can go a little bit haywire. You can be like, maybe this isn't the right path for me. I don't know. So I guess where I'm going with it is that, it's a process. So, you might, if you start to feel that resentment though, just back off. I mean, you don't have to be, but what I found out, and this is the little secret that I wanted to share with you guys. I found out when I first became a monk and really started entering into service and doing things. I found myself, especially once I understood kind of the litmus test being that if it's not in my heart to do it, don't do it. I kind of came to this realization that I was a pretty selfish individual. Now, I didn't know that before, but like every decision I made was sort of about like, well, how does this affect me? Right. And isn't that the truth? Like, I mean, just let's be real here. Don't we oftentimes think in that direction? Like, if this doesn't benefit me, why would I do it? I mean, and that kind of thinking, especially if you have brothers and sisters, if you grow up in a family and it's slim pickings. Okay. So like if there's not a lot of people, if there's very few resources and more mouths to feed than there is food, it's kind of like you might find yourself like, are they looking? All right. I know. Got to be a good monk. But anyways, my point is that we find ourselves in these types of situations. So it was a really good learning lesson for me personally. But the reason I'm telling you it is not for my own, not to tell myself or to throw the skeletons out of my own closet or anything like that. Trust me, been there, done that. Those days are over. But what I will tell you is that if you'll just allow yourself, and I mean, I give this to all of you guys watching this, if you really love your partner, maybe this could be something, this is kind of an overarching theme with our culture, our beliefs and all this, our spiritual path. But if you just do this kind of experiment, just start doing things nice for the other person. I mean, it doesn't, I'm not saying don't do anything that's not in your heart to do. But if you find that most everything is not in your heart to do, maybe question that and start realizing, am I a selfish person? Maybe I am. And you might get some realizations, some ahas. I know when I started doing this and I started treading down this path, that I did get some personal ahas. I did realize that I was quite selfish, like when it came to giving to others and giving of myself and my talents and abilities and different things. I wanted to do it in my own way, not necessarily in a way that others wanted me to. And that was sort of like really telling, it's like you start getting these spiritual ahas about things. But once you kind of overcome that, and it's a bit of a process. I mean, it doesn't really happen overnight, but once you overcome that and you just start to say to yourself, well, I wouldn't really be that offended or that resentful if I, made this person an apple pie, or, if I did all the dishes, not because someone asked me to, but just because they needed to be done, they needed to get done, and cleanliness is godliness, as the old saying goes, or to go clean a loo or a bathroom just because it needed to be cleaned, not, maybe nobody else took notice, but it's something that I noticed. And because I noticed it, am I going to leave it for someone else to clean, and hope that they notice it? Or am I just going to take the initiative and do it myself? Well, those are the kind of things that kind of come into your mindset. Those are the things that you sort of start to question, as you kind of go down this path of love. And our spiritual path is bhakti yoga. It's a form of yoga that is predicated on love, which is, of course, our devotional service. And every action we perform, every action should be an offering to God in some form or format or something along that lines, at least in our path. Where this channel is not about religion or eschewing beliefs or anything like that onto you guys. It is, but the practicalities of this are things that I want to kind of put out there for you guys. If you find that, somebody is doing something that offends you, or that the relationship just doesn't seem really that connected, forget about the connection. Instead, think about, okay, do you really want this? And if you do really want it, if you want the relationship to work out, but more than that, you just really want to love this person no matter what, it doesn't matter, on any other level, it's about your actions. And your actions are really, and I mean, we all hear those sayings like, actions speak louder than words, those kind of things. That's not always true. Sometimes some really nice words, I guess that would be a form of action, kind of a subtle sense, but sometimes words are really great as well. But just doing some things nice because it's in your heart to do them, do really say a lot. And it really does make an impact on the other person. And believe it or not, a lot of this happens at really the subconscious level. You may not notice this person really responding in kind. They might not ever do anything nice for you ever. And if that's what you're expecting, that's the wrong reason to be doing this, Instead, try to focus on what little things can I do, and start with the little things. And then later on, if it's in your heart to do bigger things, take this person out to dinner or something like that, or, buy them some nice gift or something, whatever the case happens to be. If that's in your heart at some point, that's fine. But to get started, my recommendation is always to do something small. Oftentimes it's the small things that get noticed the most, but it's not, again, about getting noticed. It's just about doing things that the person would like or appreciate. So if the person likes apple pie, bake them an apple pie. But if the person's hates apples, that's probably not the best course of action. That might have the opposite effect, Think about the other person before you decide to do something for that person, or to help that person, or to serve that person. And that's really the magic key here, And what you'll find, I think, at least when others have tried this experiment, myself included, you'll find that at some point down the line, that love or that relationship or that bond goes a lot deeper than just the what can I get from this person, or what can I do for this person. It gets a little bit deeper than that, and eventually you'll see that that person, maybe their heart is really dusty, maybe they don't give you the time of day, maybe they judge you, maybe they hate you, maybe they want to use you, maybe that's the whole thing. But at some point later on down the line, at some point, what you'll find is that that person's heart starts to get cleaned up. That broom that you've been using to clean their apartment or their house, just to help them out or to do something nice for them, starts to actually clean their heart a little bit too. And at least that's my own personal experience with it. And I'll tell you that I've taught this to many people, and they've come back and reported a lot of positive things, kind of in the direction of what I'm kind of, putting out here. Okay, so that was the first card. And we kind of get the idea of a little bit of distance. I'm kind of beat up. Relationships are a lot of work. Maybe just need a little breathing room, that kind of thing. That's what that 9 of Wands is really all about. I mean, just look at the person, It's not that they're completely letting everything go. They're just kind of leaning on something for the moment. Got to take a little bit of a break. Got to stop and just kind of reassess things and look at things differently. So we get that from the 9 of Wands. Well, as it would be, we see a lot of patterns sometimes when we do these tarot card readings. It's not by accident or happenstance that the cards always fall in the way that they do. Excuse me. Sometimes the cards really give a straightforward answer. Other times the cards may give a little bit of a, this could go either way kind of thing. Today, we have kind of a straightforward answer. So the next card that we have is, this is the 4 of Swords. Now, 4s are about stability, but more than that, the swords are also about really kind of our own thoughts, our own thinking. They're the stuff of the mind. It's like when we get inside our mind and we're doing different things. But the 4 of Swords in particular, this particular one, it's really all about, I call this kind of the supplication card or the prayer card. This person's not dead sitting on this platform. This person's actually just praying. They're just kind of taking a little bit of time to seek some help, from their higher self or God or universe, however you want to put it, or just their own mind. And they're just trying to get some clarity on things. And that's what this is really all about. So what is the tarot card reading saying to you? What are these 2 cards really putting, as far as the answer goes? There's no letting this relationship go. It's really about just taking a little bit of time for each other, for yourself. You have to have that little healing time, that kind of refresh. I'll give you a really good example. So as monks, we do a lot of tasks or activities together. I could be cooking in a kitchen tomorrow, in fact, with 8 or 9 other people in a commercial kitchen, and it could be very hectic in there, and there's people doing dishes, there's people cutting vegetables, there's just a whole bunch of things going on. And there's a little bit of order to it, but then there can be a little bit of chaos also as well. If I'm in that mix, I could get a little overwhelmed. I mean, anybody could, especially when you're on a time schedule and you have to get certain dishes prepared, at a certain time. And once it gets past that time, there's really no more cooking it. You have to get the food out. People, it's time to start eating. There's a certain time so you have to make sure that you're very focused and that you do things very nicely. It can be very stressful. I won't kid you. But it's you're doing it from the heart. It's not that that you're not getting paid for it per se, and so that's kind of the reasoning behind all of this. That's kind of what I'm saying with this kind of situation. When you're in a relationship with someone and you love that person loves you, sometimes it's more about, it's not that you're paying that person to be with you or vice versa. It's not what you can do for the person or what the person can do for you, but it's just sometimes you just have to have a little bit of space. So like tomorrow, like in the kitchen, doing all the cooking and stuff, making chapatis and Indian flatbread and so on and so forth. What I might end up doing, like afterwards and stuff, we have a very nice program, a very nice celebratory program. We enjoy that program, and that's a together activity as well. But then after that activity, I have a little bit of time for myself to kind of go back and review the day and to see all the nice, what things I've done intentionally for God and where my heart has been in the activities that I've done. It's just a nice little way of me to kind of step back from the day, from myself, without infringing upon others, and just take a moment for me. That's kind of where this tarot card reading is really at right now for you. It's just saying that take a little bit of time for yourself. Enjoy this moment while you can, because at some point you'll be back in that kitchen. You'll be back in that program. You'll be around your partner in crime. And, things will just materialize as they always do. And, that's where you get some of that riff or some of that friction sometimes when it comes to relationships, or that, you just got to give me some space kind of thing. Or you see the person maybe cheats, or the person does this or that, or, they're just kind of confused about everything going on. Sometimes you get a little bit too caught up and you don't want to let go of other things in your life as well. So sometimes you just have to have a little bit of time for yourself to be able to really appreciate and love and enjoy it, and to realize why you're with that person in the first place. So anyways, I hope that this helps a little bit on some level, kind of give you some more clarity as far as the relationship and everything goes. I'm not feeling or picking up anything negative as far as you guys not being together. I think he does care about you. I think you care about him. And when you do that and you have those feelings anyway, feelings are really great. Now it's just time to maybe put some things into action a little bit. That's doing nice things for the person. You know this person probably better than he knows himself. And knowing that, what things could you do? I mean, I'm talking small things. They don't have to be but it's not not stalking the person or trying to infringe upon the person or trying to get in the person's attention. It's not about that at all. It's kind of the opposite of that, in fact. It's more about just doing nice things for the sake of doing nice things without really trying to get recognized. But just doing something because this person will appreciate it, or it will help them in some way or some capacity. And then just doing it because it's in your heart. And you're doing it not for the other person. You're doing it because it makes you feel good to do it. And, it's just, you love the person, and therefore you want to help the person. You want to do for the person. And that's really the core of love and relationships, So I think if you do that, or if you play around with this sort of experiment that I've kind of put out there for you, I think you'll find some really positive things that come about from it. Please let me know how those things go. If you have any questions or you need some more advice on it, please reach out to me. I'm always here for you, as I am for all of you guys. Much love, many blessings, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of Indirect Knowledge. Oh, and by the way, if you guys haven't already done so, check us out at indirectknowledge.com. Everything that you get off that website, anything that you take advantage of over there, those things go to benefit the monks, our spiritual path, our purpose, the service activities and everything that we perform and help out and give out. It's all there. So anyways, that's pretty much it. Much love, many blessings. I'll see you guys on the next episode.